The Dalai Lama once said, "It is under the greatest adversity that there exists the greatest potential for doing good for both oneself and others." Well, this perhaps best describes Darran Martin and the incredible work he does as Director of Homeless Rugby in the United Kingdom. Darran, thank you for speaking with us here at the Rugby Business Network.
Thank you for having me.
Darran, for those who may not be familiar with Homeless Rugby, please tell us when it was formed and what it's basically all about.
So Homeless Rugby very much followed on from the Homeless World Cup, in which they looked to use sport and specifically football for social good, introducing people who have been affected by homelessness to playing the game. Having seen that and the success that it made, and having been a rugby player and a rugby fan and seeing the values that the rugby community and the rugby game had for me personally, on and off the pitch, I was keen to try and open the game and open the community to support people who were, who were experiencing challenging times, who were vulnerable, and who would maybe benefit from the values of the game on the pitch, from the health and fitness that comes with training regularly, from the camaraderie of joining and participating in a team sport, as well as from the wider value the rugby community and the rugby network and family, as it would, could have in supporting people.
How many teams are currently involved in Homeless Rugby, and are there any specific age groups?
So the age group is pretty much from 16 up, no upper limit. We have teams in England, Scotland and Wales at the moment, in Worcester, Newport and Glasgow respectively, who all just met at the weekend actually to take part in an annual event we've started running now, where we are bringing together each of our teams to play each other in what we hope to continue to build with new teams from new countries every year.
Well, Darran, on the homepage of your website, www.homelessrugby.org, it says building strong partnerships between rugby clubs and local homeless charities to help create positive sporting opportunities. Where did the idea come from to bring together these charities and rugby?
Well, I suppose it comes down to the idea that people become experts in what they do. Rugby clubs have amazing facilities and have fantastic coaches and the ability to teach people a new game. And likewise with the homeless charities, these organisations do amazing work with people affected by homelessness. And the idea was kind of, to bring these hopefully complementary skill sets and expertise to look at how we could identify people who would maybe be in a position where they manage to get some stability, but they have free time. They may benefit from a team sport and from some physical exercise, as well as be beyond that, then potentially be looking for other opportunities and to grow their own social network. So it was very much looking at, what the charitable sector had in terms of skill set and in terms of identifying who may benefit from that. And likewise with the rugby clubs, looking at skills and talented coaches and facilities and that club environment that people could benefit from engaging with. I've been fortunate enough to play for a number of different clubs in Ireland and England. And, going into a new club, it is tricky. It's you're going into a place where people may have played with each other from underage right the way up through the ranks and into the senior squad. So to go in as a new guy is challenging. So we wanted to try and take away any potential barriers that would exist for that. And then likewise, in terms of the game itself, we play sevens and we're working with a lot of people who have never played rugby before. So we're introducing them to touch, to the oddly shaped ball that we all know and love, and to how the game is played and how they can, improve their skills and look to go from novices to people who can actually play the game and play the game well.
Well, in 2015, at both the City of Worcester Sports Awards and at the Sports Partnership Awards, Homeless Rugby was named Community Project of the Year. I'm sure that receiving these awards, amongst others, would not be possible if it was not for the support of your sponsors. Which businesses contribute towards Homeless Rugby, and what kind of assistance do they provide?
Well, as you'll be aware, we're part of the Rugby Business Network, and they have been fantastic in their support and giving us a platform to talk about the work that we have done with our partners. and likewise actually look at how they can identify other businesses who we could potentially work with. So they've been fantastic in looking at, where the business community that also have that shared love of the game can potentially identify some people that we could work with, some people who are interested in volunteering with us, and what skills they have, what tangible skills they have to help us grow as an organisation and be more sustainable and look to create new teams in a way that we can create new positive opportunities in homeless rugby. In addition to that, I suppose, the existing partners that we actually work with on a day-to-day basis in terms of delivering it, that is the likes of the Worcester Warriors, Newport Gwen Dragons, YMCA up and down the UK, as well as NG Homes up in Scotland. And then in partnership with all of those, and with our tournament that we had last week, we had a couple of other sponsors for the kits of each of the teams. NG Homes actually sponsored the team kit for Scotland, so that actually meant that the Scottish team had a kit on the day, but also then were able to actually travel down from Glasgow for the day, and Edinburgh as well. There's some players from both actually. So they covering those travel costs to games. We also have another couple of sponsors, Red Row Homes, who sponsored the England team, and Scimitar Sports, who provided the kits for all three teams at the weekend, but also sponsored the Welsh kit. So that goes towards, some of the costs that, people with expendable income would maybe take for granted, that cost of getting to a game or before or after a game, making sure you're getting the right refreshments, or, kit for the game, kit in terms of boots, socks, shorts and all, it all adds up. So our business sponsors have been very good at helping us support teams with those costs, but also, helping identify what skills that they'll have that can help us grow and run as an effective not-for-profit, to look at retaining the existing teams that we have and creating new teams.
Well, businesses making financial contributions and other kinds of donations, which you just mentioned, Darran, I'm sure you require that from them. But what sort of a relationship do you wish to create when it comes to collaborating with a business?
Yeah, I suppose for me, it's always been one that's going to be mutually beneficial. We set up as a community interest company rather than a charity, for example, because we don't want to be in a position where we don't want to be in a position where we're looking for only financial support from the business community. And likewise, we are aware that it's a challenging time for many businesses. So actually, how we can work collaboratively with them, meeting some of the CSR targets that they potentially have. We've been in discussion with one of our funders about some of the CSR aims and targets that they have as a infrastructure business, and actually how we could potentially help identify people who could be part of the training and development that they have to do in terms of delivering new building contracts in certain areas. So it's very much about looking at, it's very much a two-way collaborative relationship, asking them what can we potentially do to help benefit them, as well as what areas they can help benefit ourselves as well. So it's always been, we hope to continue to be as mutual as possible.
That's brilliant. Well, Darran, on the website it also states that over the coming years you hope to further develop and formalize collaborations and partnerships, and that your current core stakeholders will grow into regional leaders as you look to establish a national program. Do you think you are on the track to achieving this, and is there a time frame in which you hope to do so?
In England, yes. At the moment, we've got a few teams in the pipeline that we'll hopefully be getting up and off the ground as we move from spring into summer. So there's definitely an option to continue to grow what we've been doing in England. The aspiration there is to do the same in Scotland and Wales. And likewise, look at the wider international rugby family, where rugby is widely played, where we have a community and facilities and resources that could be, again, twinned with and utilised with homeless charities in other parts of the world. For us, it's about doing that in a way that is sustainable and in a way that is going to ensure that we're creating the best positive and positive opportunities for people to participate in rugby, for rugby clubs to develop and deliver in partnership with ourselves, and also for the business community to potentially get involved with as well. So it is very much a how can we do this, but how can we do this in a way that is not growing too quickly in an unmanageable way. I suppose we're looking at how we can do it as sensibly as possible and to have the greatest impact and the greatest growth, I suppose.
Besides providing people that are destitute and homeless with the opportunity to play rugby, in what other ways do you try to assist them away from the rugby field?
You think about employment to begin with. Employment, yes, you will see advertisements, but at the same time, actually knowing what opportunities are available and when and timing-wise, and having those connections to people who could potentially help point you in the right direction as to what jobs are available to the skill set that you have and ability that you have. The personal connections are where the real value exists within the rugby community in that respect. So in Worcester, for instance, with our pilot project, once we got the team up and running, we ended up seeing a couple of our players then progress on to other social programs like HITS and School of Hard Knocks. Likewise, up in Glasgow, we've had guys progress on to the School of Hard Knocks program as well. But then in terms of employment in Worcester, we had two of our participants go on to work in the rugby stadium on match day as part of the entertainment package, as it were, in terms of the pre and post game facilities and offer that the Warriors offer to their fans.
Oh, that's great.
And they have said that they were jobs they were never necessarily even aware of. Never mind would have even considered potentially applying for. So just being able to actually help people grow their own social networks means that having those conversations and understanding what opportunities exist and actually what they can do to access those opportunities have been very, very fruitful and valuable to some of our players.
Well, looking at the actual rugby playing side of your organisation, this past Saturday, the 20th of May, as you mentioned earlier in the interview, Homeless Rugby held a tournament at Worcester Warriors. Which teams took part and was it well supported?
It was very well supported. We had England, Scotland and Wales, so that is our Newport, Glasgow, with a few players from Edinburgh actually, and our Worcester team representing England all coming together to play each other. We try and do that once a year, and the aspiration is that we'll continue to have those three nations with more countries having teams coming forward in the future. But likewise, within each of these countries actually having a little bit more competitions for the national jerseys, I suppose. So in England, we have a few teams in the pipeline, so actually ahead of next year's event, we may look to have trials against with our Worcester participants and our other new clubs that are coming online. So it's something that we only see as growing, and actually growing both in terms of actual numbers, but in terms of people benefiting from playing rugby and the opportunity to represent their country.
Well, lastly, Darran, what other tournaments or events do you have coming up in the next few months, and how can businesses get involved to make a difference?
So one of the key ones that we'll be announcing the date of shortly is Mayan Heart is a construction business in the UK who've been looking at how we can support, how we can help, how we can work collaboratively to introduce people to the construction industry and to potential entry-level positions within that and within their company. In addition to that, as part of the CSR for their staff and as part of a positive opportunity for their staff, they last year ran their first 7th tournament, and the money raised from that went to Homeless Rugby, and they raised £3,000 on the day and had 7 other businesses enter teams, and our Worcester team came down and participated in the day as well. Following the success of that, they're looking to do the same again, so we'll actually be looking for businesses to enter teams into that tournament. And it was a fantastic day out. I've got no doubt that this year's event will be bigger and better than last year, with more teams and more money raised to help us support new and existing teams participating in Homeless Rugby. Go to the website, keep an eye on it, and keep an eye on our Twitter, which is @HomelessRugby. Dates and how to enter teams will be coming up in the coming weeks and months.
Fantastic. Well, Darran, the difference you and Homeless Rugby are making is inspiring. Please keep up the selfless work, and we at the Rugby Business Network will catch up again with you in the near future for an update.
I really appreciate that. And a big thanks to everybody in the Rugby Business Network for their continued support of the work that we're doing. And likewise, just thank you from myself to all of the volunteers with Homeless Rugby. It's completely volunteer-led, and without the amazing work that our coaches, our directors, and all of our other volunteers have done since its inception, they're the ones who have really made this possibility and have really helped change lives. So a big thank you from me to all of them.